I have a feeling if you're watching this video, then you probably play guitar, and if you're a human, you probably run into problems from time to time. Everybody faces problems, right? As a guitar player myself, I've come across many problems in my journey. So I've compiled a list of 10 of the most common problems that I myself have faced and that guitar students that I've taught have faced, and I hope that these solutions will help you crush your guitar problems. Let's start. We'll begin with the issue of not being able to play as fast as you'd like. No speed. Now, I'm no Yngwie Malmsteen, but I can play pretty quickly, and I believe the key to playing fast is to play as lightly as the phrasing allows and be very economical in both your left and right hands. This means keeping the fingers of your fretting hand as close to the fretboard as humanly possible and moving your right hand as little as possible as you pick with, get this, the tip of the pick. You don't want to have too much of the pick attacking the strings, otherwise it won't allow you to move from one string to the next in a quick fashion. There is a speed barrier that will fall down. The interesting thing that I found is that speed barrier disappears suddenly. It's not necessarily gradual as many other techniques, you gradually become better. I find that if you practice methodically and consistently, you'll pick up the guitar one day and all of a sudden be imbued with much quicker speed. For more in-depth information on this, I also recommend checking out my YouTube video, 8 Tips to Increase Picking Speed. So, I believe we've crushed the speed issue. Problem number 2 on our list. Memorizing scale positions. You just can't do it. Here's the thing about scales. On their own, kind of boring. But when you have music to play these scales over, all of a sudden everything gets a lot more fun to play and subsequently a lot easier to remember. So I absolutely encourage you to actually throw away the metronome when you're just learning the sound of the scale, because that is what is important. It's not necessarily trying to rip through it as fast as you can, it's understanding and feeling the sound of a scale and the sound of each position. You can play a scale hundreds of times in just a matter of minutes, so there's no issue with time here. You just need to make sure that you're practicing the scales in their correct positions. I recommend learning any scale with more than 5 notes in a 3-note per string construction. I teach that in all my YouTube videos, in my guitar courses. It is the absolute fastest way to learn all the modes of any scale you want to. The issue of memorizing scale patterns, crushed. Problem number 3, playing the same licks over and over and over and over and over and over and over. There are a few different approaches to crushing this problem. Learn other guitar players' guitar solos and steal their licks. Stealing their licks is important because not only does it help your ear training, but it also allows you to play these licks in your own way. And when that happens, you start to develop your own guitar voice. Try and be conversational with your guitar playing. Try and think one step ahead. Say a sentence, breathe, that means leave space, and then start speaking again. Having that space there and that breath allows you to look forward to your next musical phrase. Playing the same licks over and over again, crushed. The next problem we have to crush is physical pain. This is normal if you practice a lot or you play guitar a lot. There are some things that require seeing a doctor, and other times you just need to be strong and actually take a break from the guitar for a day or two. When I started becoming obsessed with guitar, I would play for 7 or 8 hours a day sometimes, and I had these kind of pains, and I didn't really get worried about it because I loved playing so much, but I learned to actually put breaks in my practice routines, 15 or 20 minute breaks. You don't want to sit down and just rip through something for 2 hours. That's not going to be very good for you over the long term. It's not necessarily bad to just be like, I need to take a break. Also, if you learn things by tablature, tabs are often wrong and make you play things that twist your fingers and your palm in weird ways, so if it doesn't feel good, perhaps re-examine that lick. Physical pain, crushed. The next problem we have to crush is no progress. You just aren't getting better. This will be the shortest solution and also the most effective and the one that I am most confident in. The answer is simple. Form a practice routine and stick to it. If you'd like a template to use, I have a video here on YouTube called The Ultimate Guitar Practice Routine, and you can use that and form it to your own goals. The problem of no progress, crushed. The next problem guitar players may want to crush: I don't know how to sight read. Do I need to learn how to sight read? I'm confused about sight reading. Here's the thing, there's 5, 6, sometimes 7 places to play the same exact note on a guitar. That is why it's so difficult to sight read on this instrument. And also, guitar is the most fun instrument ever created, so it's really easy to kind of push sight reading into the back burner. The truth about sight reading is that it really just takes 15 minutes a day using a metronome and not stopping as you play through a piece of music. That is the most important part. You can play every note wrong, but as long as you make it through the music, you are improving. Then when you go back through, you'll make 1 less mistake, maybe 2 less mistakes, and as you learn to read this language of music, it will become something that you are fluent in if you are consistent in your practice. This is my favorite book to learn sight reading, and I also recommend not reading the same piece of music too many times, or else you'll start to memorize it, and that will just train your muscle memory and not your sight reading skills. If you want to be a session guitar player, then yes, you should learn to sight read, but you definitely can get away with not being a sight reader and be an amazing guitar player. I mean, after all, there's plenty of examples of rock stars and amazing guitar players who have no idea even what music theory is. Sight reading problems, crushed. The next problem we should crush as guitar players: bad tone. If you don't have a tone you like, you have to locate the problem. Is it the guitar you're playing? Is it the amp you're playing through? Or is it your technique itself? If you don't like your gear, then, well, it's easy to say, buy new gear, but not everybody can do that. So, the one thing in your control is right here. Tone is primarily in the fingers. You know how guitar players can plug into any rig and sound like themselves? That's what I mean by tone is in the fingers. Of course, we all want to have all the coolest gear in the world, but if you only focus on improving your rig and not your actual guitar playing, then you're always going to sound like crap no matter what gear you're using. It takes a long time to develop tone. The 3 things that I would practice in this order: bending, vibrato, and rhythm guitar playing. You're always right on the beat and you have strong intonation. That is going to take you light years ahead of where you are as far as tone goes. Then when you do win the lottery and can buy anything you want to, you'll enjoy it that much more. Tone problems, crushed. The next problem I'm going to talk about could be more of a beginner issue, but it is something that even advanced guitar players should consider and come back to from time to time. Bar chords and chords in general, not being able to play them or having them sound out of tune. You play most chords with your finger bones, not the soft, fleshy part of your fingers that you use for those nice, tasty licks. This means your palm is a little bit turned out, not necessarily perpendicular to the fretboard. This is very important regarding technique and chord switching. When you're learning new chords, don't cheat yourself. Always ring out each string and make sure it's ringing true. And above all, anybody can play any chord. Small hands, big hands, that does not matter. Playing bar chords in tune, crush. The next problem we guitar players face: no feel. Do you sound like a robot? Do you sound like a MIDI file? Does your guitar playing not raise any interest in the audience or the listeners around you? Here's the thing about feel: it comes from within. Try and tell a story with your notes. And a great way to do this is to have the same exact lick played in a variety of styles. This can be a guitar exercise you use or a lick from a song. Try and play it happily, sadly, scarily, excitedly. It's really all about phrasing, and it's all about getting in touch with your instrument. No feel, crushed. The final problem that we guitar players face: getting bored. It happens. Here's what you do. Take a break for a couple days. Don't even look at your guitar. Don't listen to music that you normally listen to either. Go for a walk. Do something else that's really fun that has nothing to do with music. You'll find that after a day or two, you'll start to miss your guitar. You'll be thinking about it, dreaming about it even. You return to your guitar you'll be reinvigorated and maybe even better off than you were before. Being bored with guitar playing? Crushed!